Hello. Hi, it's Alexis. Let me just make sure we're set up there. So hi, thanks for being here. If you weren't with me yesterday, hi, welcome. BTST child sleep. What's that stand for? That's really cool. I'm Alexis. Whoops, sorry, moving the camera. So I'm a professional strategist. It's what I do. It's what I used to do for the U.S. government, and now I do it with individual clients, either people or businesses. I'm just gonna move the camera a little bit closer and apparently wiggle it around everywhere. There we go. Are we set? All right, so I want to talk today about, from a strategic point of view. Oh, hey! Nice! Yay! Well, thank you. I'm happy to have the support. Thanks for being here. I tend not to Periscope that much, mostly because my phone dies all the time, but now I have no excuse because somebody got me one of the cases for my phone that charges it, so I have no excuse not to do video anymore, so I'm really excited to finally get back at it. So I wanted to give you today a perspective from a strategic point of view of how to think about your social media, because this comes up for a lot of people, like, wow, there's a lot of pressure. You go online and you see all these people doing all these different things and you're thinking like, I should be here and I should be on Pinterest and I should be on Twitter and I should be on Periscope and I should be on Blab and I should be on who knows what's coming next. Like who knows what the next big thing is. So we want to make sure that we have a way to think about social media that really grounds it in who you are, so that you know how to navigate all the different decisions out there. Because the most important part is that your business reflects you, and it's your outreach, and your outreach through technology is a natural extension of who you are and of what your business is about. So, right, okay? Any questions so far? If you have any questions at any point, just pop them in the little chat box and we'll go with it. So again, I want to just clarify about some of the things I am going to talk about and some of the things I'm not going to talk about. So the reason I wanted to have this conversation, other than the amazing and brilliant Jen Terrell, if you don't follow her, she's phenomenal. She helps women with getting financial security, especially if you run a business, so you can be financially independent. So follow her, but she asked me about how do you figure out where to be on social media because it's so overwhelming. And that's really one of the things I see, and one of the things I've felt myself, right? We seemingly have a limited amount of time, and yet all of these competing priorities. And most of us went in business to do what we're good at, which presumably isn't social media outreach. And so even being in that realm is like, oh my gosh, this is different, this is new, I don't know how to phrase this, I don't know what I'm doing here. So we hit up on that problem. And then third, I'm just looking down at my notes. And then third, we might hear, especially if you're online, you hear lots of different advice like, oh, Pinterest is where it's at, or Twitter's where all the money is, or Facebook ads is the way to go. It's still the grand pop of social media advertising. Like we hear all these competing voices, and some of them are from people that we really want to emulate, and so it might stir up like some insecurity or jealousy in us. And others, it's coming from people whose expertise is actually social media. So that's their natural habitat, right? So great for them, but it's not potentially our natural habitat. So we want to think about who and how we are and how we show up in our business and how then that translates to social media. Because there's a difference between being seen and making an impact. And presumably you want to make an impact. You want to actually make a difference through your work, whether that difference is helping people solve a technical problem or giving them a product that's going to enhance their lives or helping them on an emotional level. That part is up to you. That part doesn't matter, but presumably you want to do more. Oh, good. Okay. Yes. So expanding the plan of videos. Yes. So what Nicole's referring to right there is I did another free training over the last 3 weeks about how to, yes, thank you. Awesome. So what she's referring to there is that I did another free training over the last 3 weeks about how to discover your life purpose and then translate it into action and then embody that. So we've gone a little bit step further. So we're assuming that one of your big lines of action under your purpose, and if you missed yesterday's video, you can catch that. It may still be up on Periscope for a little bit of time, or you can catch all the replays. I've got them posted on a page. If you go to my website on the top, I don't know which way you're facing, but when you're looking at the website, it's on the top left. It says join the free training or something like that. Click on that link and put in your address there and you get access to all of these videos. I didn't want to just put them up there, but you'll get access in the link to that. So you can go and watch yesterday's video, which is about how we translate your big life purpose and your big vision for the world into a specific business and into a specific audience and a business message, and how you start to solve the problems that people have that are related to that deeper message that you're sharing. So if we've assumed that one of the big lines of action in your life to express your purpose is a business, then when it comes to expressing that business message why do I always lose my words? Well, their business message, which is an extension. There we go, an extension. It's an extension of your personal message in life because it's focused now on a specific audience and a specific problem instead of just this broader message, which is applicable to anybody. So we have this more specific message in place and time. Thank you. Well, that's my frustrated face. So we have this more specific business message. It's located in place and time. It's attached to a specific audience, and it presumably goes to or helps address specific issues that people are having, that specific audience that you have in the issues. And again, yesterday's video we went into this. So once we are in that space, we're in that space of, okay, I know the bigger message that I'm trying to share through my work. My work may show up in all these different ways. I may do a little bit of coaching and a little bit of technology work and a little bit of mindset stuff. Like I might work across a number of modalities, but my message is going to be consistent across all of those. And when we have that message, then we want to say, well, if I'm going to then translate that message to a social media platform, how do I even begin? How do I begin to have this deeper conversation or this bigger connection or this bigger discussion about my work and about my message and what I'm trying to put out in the world in 130 characters or whatever it is, a little image that's got a quote in it. How do I even get my head around something like that? So today I want to give you 6 questions to help you continually connect how you show up on social media to who you are and what you're trying to accomplish in the world. So what we're not going to talk about is what social media platform has the best return on investment for, moms ages 25 to 30. Like, we're not going to go into that because that's actually a secondary question from a strategic point of view. That's when you get into tactical implementation and actually doing the work. Then we need those types of numbers to help focus even more and get the biggest bang for the buck. But there actually are a number of strategic questions that come before we go to implement, and that's what I want to lay out for you, because once you have those questions, then you're going to be able to make the right choice for you and your business. A, when your business changes, because your business will evolve. B, when you change, like maybe you have a big life change like another kid, or you move to somewhere where there's limited internet. You want to figure out how you can still do the best with what you have. And when new social media comes out, because we have no idea what's coming, right? So when something new comes out and everybody jumps on the bandwagon, we want to see, is that really the right fit for you? And I want to give you the parameters to be able to make that assessment and judgment for yourself. So we're going to start. If you have any questions, of course, pop them in the box. We'll get to them. And also you can find this video, I think, on the top, whatever side I'm pointing to, it's on the top left of my website. It says join the free training. That'll sign you up for my February 16th webinar, where I'm giving away a free spot in my Profit on Purpose program, which is about how to take your big life purpose and translate it into your business message all the way down to an offer that really speaks to your clients. And then also you'll get access to all of these videos from this week. So hold on, a little bit of water. All right. So, strategic questions about social media. Here's the first one. We're going to start by, and I'm just looking down at my notes, we're grounding it first in who you are, and then we'll go out from there. So my big purpose and goal is always to help you find a way to get more in touch with what you really want, so that you can show up uniquely, so that you can be leaning forward, and maybe you innovate and do something that nobody's ever done. Like Brendan Burchard last week or 2 weeks ago did a live training for 4 days on social media. That's really never been done. So he has certain parameters on his work and the way he thinks about what he does and his audience and how they interact that led him to make that decision that nobody had ever done before. Or for me, I do a daily quote, but instead of doing it in written form, I'm now doing it as a video. And that's a decision that I'd never seen anybody do it, but for me, I was led to by these strategic questions that we're going to go through today. All right. So my main concern is that you have the tools to help you navigate the future, both for your business and for social media. So the first question is, in your vision of yourself in 5 years, so take where you are now in your business and let it go, and imagine, thanks for the hearts. Thank you. I love them. Take where you are right now and envision yourself in the future. So 5 years from now, say you're already super successful. Say you're already exactly where you want to be. Say you have the perfect audience and everything's completely sorted. In that vision, so this isn't your big ideal world. This is like this reality, but perfect, right? Like your perfect business, everything's sorted out wonderfully. Everything that you're going for right now has already happened. It's amazing. So when you're in that space, how do you most want to show up? Do you want to show up face-to-face with people, more like this? Do you want to show up by creating beautiful and inspiring images for people? Do you want to show up by giving your voice and guiding people through deeper experiences through audio sessions? Do you want to write to them? Like, what do you imagine is your ideal way of interacting once you no longer feel the stress to do it because you have to? That's really what we're getting at. So if money wasn't the thing, if you weren't trying to get clients, if you weren't trying to get famous, if you weren't trying to do this, if all of that was already a given, how would you actually choose to show up and spend your time? So for me, one of the things on my list is like, damn, as soon as I get an assistant, I am never going on Facebook again. Like, wow, that's a pretty big personal insight that I now have to negotiate with how I'm choosing to spend my time now, which is like 90% on Facebook. Like, that's a big shock, right? Wow, so maybe something needs to shift there. Maybe how I think about interacting with people needs to shift. And maybe Facebook isn't where I need to spend all my time now because clearly there's something about it that I don't really like. And that could be me, it could be how I'm choosing to show up there, or it could be actually the platform itself. So we want to start to think through these questions. So the first one is envision that you're already exactly where you want to be. You are already like the top thing in the whole world. Everybody's clamoring to be with you. How would you then choose to interact? What would be your favorite way of interacting? And I don't necessarily mean platform, I mean way of interacting, because the platforms might change, right? We might have something totally new show up. So we're talking about, do you want to interact in images, in video, in face-to-face, in audio, those types of questions. And then we're going to look at, in that space, which platform and way of showing up allows you to feel successful, right? Like, will you feel more successful if you have 1 million followers on Twitter or on Facebook or on YouTube or on Blab or on Periscope? You know, start to look at, like, when you look at people and they have big audiences, where are you most jealous? That's a really good indicator, right? Where are you like, oh, how'd they do that? That must mean that they're awesome. You know, so we need to look at those deeper signs that you're getting from you. And pardon me, I just dropped my notes. Those deeper signs that you're getting from you, which show up as feelings, right? They show up as good feelings or bad feelings. So look at both. Once you feel completely good about your life, how are you going to choose to show up? And right now, when you're feeling bad, what is it that you're looking at? Okay, that was the first question. Second question, where do you spend your time now? Like, look at how you spend your time on social media. There are some apps that can help you track this. I can't think of the name of one of them right now, but it lets you know how much time you're spending on Facebook and other social media sites. So I want you to look at where you're spending your time, and then I want you to do an actual experiment with it. And this is something we do in yoga and meditation all the time. You check in, how do I feel before? Do the work. How do I feel after? And what we're doing there is getting that's what we're going to talk about next. So we're starting with you. We always start with you. Because once you start to look at your niche and your audience and your industry and all of that, you've immediately gone to what I should do to be who I think I need to be. So that's a great way to feel really frustrated and exhausted. It's helpful to learn, but what I'm trying to give you is the parameters to get really clear on what matters to you so that you know how to filter the information that's coming to you. Because we're always going to be bombarded by advice. right? We're always going to be told, hey, try this hot new thing and check out this. And oh my God, I made $3 million in 2 weeks on this platform. Like, we're always going to have that coming at us. And so the options are endless. The world is endless in possibility, which is an amazing and wonderful thing. But that can be overwhelming if we don't have a way to ground ourselves in what we want to do. So then we get into that place that doesn't feel very good, where we've put the responsibility for making our decisions outside of us. We just cling on to somebody who we think, oh, they have the right answer, so I'm going to do whatever they did, but they're actually not you. And so what I want to share with you here is some ways to continually get back in touch with you and what matters in your business and in your life, so that once you start looking at your audience, or once you start looking at all the different platforms, you know how to navigate that and always stay continually going back to the best way of interacting for you. Does that make sense? Hopefully. I know there's a little time lag here, so I'll let you type it in. Oh, thanks for the hearts. Hopefully that means it makes sense. So the second question, again, is where do you spend your time now? And then to do that little experiment, and we do this before a yoga pose. Oh, good. I'm glad. So before a yoga pose, I'll check in and go, how do I feel? I'll do the pose. I'll check in, how do I feel afterwards? Pretty basic example. I either feel good or I don't. It's like, or, okay, that I felt that here, but not here. So that's like a physical example, but we're going to do the same thing with social media. So go spend your normal time on Twitter and see, how did I feel before? How do I feel after? Go spend your normal time on Facebook or Blab or Periscope or wherever you're spending it and see how you feel. If you come out of it absolutely like, what did I just do? And you're totally confused and drained and you can't remember what you were doing and you're not motivated or inspired, you're just confused, then maybe that's not a good platform for you. And if you come out of it like, oh, I can't believe that just happened and this is just amazing, maybe that is a good platform for you. So we want to look at it maybe across a week. So every time you remember, check in with yourself when you're going on those platforms and just see how you feel coming out of them, because that's going to give you some real feedback on how you actually feel when you're in that space. And this is important because people don't want to interact with people who don't feel good, right? You're not going to bring your best if it's something you think you have to do. It's something that you want to do. And you're not going to be inspired to want to be there and to want to connect and to want to have genuine relationships if you're just showing up because like, oh God, they told me I had to because that's how businesses run. Of course, as your business expands, there's lots of different ways to engage all over the place. But right now we're looking at, bubble in my throat. We're looking at, how can you best spend your time now that's in the closest alignment with the way that you want to show up in the world and you want to be in the world. All right, so those are the first two questions. In your vision of yourself 5 years from now, when you're totally successful, how do you actually see yourself interacting with people? And then how does that compare to where you are now? And then checking in with where you are now, looking at where you spend your time and how you spend your time, what you're doing when you're on there, what kind of things interest you, what kind of things you look at, how you interact with people, and then asking once you're done, how do I actually feel now that I'm leaving that experience? Do I feel better? Do I feel clearer? Do I feel like I have closer relationships? However you want to feel. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but however you want to feel, are you feeling those ways coming out of that experience or when you're in that experience? All right. And it could be really subtle thoughts, just to be clear there. It could be really subtle thoughts like, oh God, today I have to do my Facebook post, or like, oh, I've got to do my 5 Twitter posts a day. Like that kind of dread is a really subtle sign that something's off and you want to dig a little bit deeper to start to explore what that is. On the other hand, you might be buzzing from something, or you might be excited, or you might be like, I just had the best idea. That's another really subtle sign that something really clicked there for you, and we want to start to explore what that clicking was. Maybe it was a specific person, maybe it was a topic, maybe it was the way the conversation happened and the platform that allowed it to happen. We want to start to get clear on those things so that we can recreate them. That's where the strategic perspective comes in. And then the third piece, and this is really important, is the third question. So we got 6 questions. The first 3 are about you, and the second 3 are about your audience. And these first 3 are the most important because we ground everything in ourselves, right? We got it all here first in order to be able to give out. So the third question is, how do you like to communicate? How do you like to communicate? Do you like to do short, pithy things? Do you like to do really in-depth posts? Do you like to get really deep on a topic? Would you rather be in this format where we're talking live? Would you rather do a video that's pre-done? Would you rather not have anybody ever see you ever, but you love to talk and share on that level? Would you rather do like live face-to-face like Blab, where you can actually be right there with somebody talking? So you want to, or maybe images. Maybe you love to create beautiful things for people, or something they can take and carry with them that's inspiring, and it's got your little bit of love in it, like you sent them a cookie, cookies, but they're not actually a bit of you right there. And then what types of things, so this is a two-part question. The first one is, how do you like to communicate? And within that form of communication, what actually makes you happy? Is it the connection? Is it the teaching? Is it the inspiring? Is it the entertaining? What about that communication is part of what keeps you going and keeps you feeling good? So for me, I love teaching. So I love having courses. I love doing this kind of stuff. I love teaching my yoga classes. I love teaching my meditation class. Like, insert any subject. If I can teach it, I'm there. 100%. I love it. I love it. And I also like inspiring. So I have a blog that I write every weekday, which a lot of people would think is a big lift, and it's a commitment for sure. But because I get to help uplift and inspire people, I'm happy to do it. It's something that comes very naturally to me. And that's key, right? So I like to communicate in writing, where nobody can see me. In writing, here I am, writing along, and I can do it all day long, every day. And it's inspiring. I can teach something, I can share a message, and I can motivate people. I also really like teaching on video. It's a different level of like, oh gosh, I'm nervous about that, but here we are, and I really enjoy it. Though for me, it would be better. Yeah, I do a million things. This is where the strategy comes in, right? We always teach what we need. I'm like, strategy, focus it down, narrow it down. But I'm very clear about why I do those things. So for me, I blog every day because that little bit of continual inspiration is something that's very important to me to share. That like every day remind you, you can do this, you can get back to you, stay in alignment, stay with who you are, focus on your vision to help with those daily decisions. Because like we said, we're bombarded with choice. We have every choice in the whole wide world. And so it's a very gradual process to learn how to hear your own voice and to learn how to stay attuned with who you are and what you really want, and make those bold and brave choices to follow that path. It's challenging, right? Like to wake up and look at everything you have to do. I actually wrote about this morning. To wake up and look at everything in your life and go, but I don't want to today. Like, do I have to do all these things that I said that I should do, or I think that I should do because that's what it means to be me and to go through my life every day? And there are days that all of us feel that way, right? Where we're like, no, why did I choose this? I don't want this. And so starting to listen to that voice and what it's saying. It's not saying like run away from your life and pack up the suitcase and drive away from your children. Like, it's not saying that. It might be actually saying that, but it's probably not saying that. It's probably saying pay attention, pay attention. So I want to help people find that deeper wisdom so that they can have the bravery and the courage, but also the tools to actually follow it. So that's my goal. So I write every day because of it. I also have a weekly podcast where we hear from other people. So it's not just me going, hey guys, here's how it is. It's other people saying, hey, here's how it is. And then this type of teaching is also really important to me as well. And hopefully it's motivating and inspiring, because my big goal is to say like, hey, you already have all this information. You don't have to go seeking outside of you and take all of these different trainings on different social media platforms. You have to tune into what matters to you and how you want to show up in the world. Thanks. And what matters to you and how you want to show up in the world. And then make a clear decision to then channel that into a specific platform. And make it's a purposeful decision, so that you're not scattered all over the place, that you're not just trying to grasp at straws and trying to follow along with the masses who are all over the place doing everything, but you're staying, your energy is staying focused. So you're not scattered, but you're staying within yourself, and you're saying, this is what matters to me, this is who I am and how I want to be in the world, and how my business is going to express who I am and what I'm here to do and who I'm here to help. And I'm going to choose to make an impact through these platforms or through these channels. So that's what we're doing here. All right, so first 3 questions, just to summarize. In your vision of yourself in 5 years when you're super successful, how are you engaging? How are you engaging? Not specific to a platform, but actually what are the ways that you're engaging with people? And then how does that compare to how you engage now? So I know for me in 5 years, I want to do a lot more in-person work, which meant that when it came to planning for this year, I went, oh, maybe I should get out there and do a lot more in-person work. And luckily I am. But that's a choice that we can make once we're really clear on, well, what does success actually feel like to me? What does it actually look like? And how can I adjust to make that happen? So, and then the second question is, where do you spend your time now? And how do you feel coming out of it? How do you feel when you're in it? How do you feel coming out of it? And also beforehand too, if you're dreading it or if you're excited about it. Maybe you can't wait to check who's on Periscope in the morning. You know, those types of things. So check in with how you feel about how you spend your time now and do that experiment for about a week so you actually have some real data to work with, because it's all about your experience and how you feel. Because the better you feel, the more naturally and easily you're going to show up, and the more willing you're going to be able to have real conversations with people to really support them and actually build the relationships and partnerships that you want coming out of social media. Because that's the goal, right? We're trying to get something and be clear on what that is. Are we trying to build connections? Are we trying to build partnerships? Are we trying to feel loved and supported? You know, your intentions actually matter with how you show up. So we want to both feel good coming in and we want to be clear on our intentions. The third question is, how do you actually like to communicate? Do you like to communicate in written form? Do you like to make images? Do you like to inspire people with quotes? Do you like to do one-on-one like this, or one going out? Or do you like to do blab where you actually can talk to each other? Do you like to do call-in shows? There's all these different options and ways to show up. And different platforms support all of those different ways. And then look at what you're actually communicating, or the broader theme of what you're communicating. Is it teaching? Is it inspiring? Is it motivating? Is it helping people clarify? You know, what's actually going on in the way that you're showing up? All right. Or bean spilling. You could be like People Magazine, or like, you know, who's that guy who runs the blog where he just tells Hollywood secrets all day long? Like, brilliant. The guy's brilliant, right? Something with shoes. I can't remember. Prada something. I don't know. Clearly, I'm not a big follower. Okay, so now we're going to switch to the second set of 3 questions. So number 4, 5, and 6 have to do with your audience, which is really key as well. So again, we're grounding all of this in who you are and the message that you're sharing. Perez Hilton, thank you. I don't know why I think that has to do with shoes, but thank you. That's it. That's it. You nailed it. Clearly, I'm a little behind on the times, but you know, fantastic, like amazing use of platforms, right? Social media platforms, websites, videos, the way that people interact, podcasts, like nailed it. But it's all a totally natural extension of his bigger message, right? So we want to look at those people and realize that they're being themselves and allowing that to extend to the platform instead of trying to mold yourself into what the platform allows and then spread yourself all over all the platforms, because it just doesn't make a ton of sense. It's not going to do you any benefits. It's just going to leave you feeling exhausted and overwhelmed for the most part, unless you have a big team working on social media and then let them adapt everything and way to go. But otherwise, we want to focus on the best way for you to naturally express yourself in a social media platform. So then we look at your audience. The second 3 questions, the first one starts as, who is your audience? So again, you can watch yesterday's video where we talked about identifying your audience. But who's your audience? Who are you trying to serve? And where are they hanging out? Pretty basic question. We've all heard it before, right? But actually check it out. And the best way to do this is just to ask. If you've worked with people that you really love, email them and ask them how they heard about you, or where they hang out right now, or send out a little survey to your list that says the same thing. Hey, where do you hang out? What do you like about it? And where did you hear of me? Because these might be different answers. And it depends on what you're going for there. If you want to inspire people daily and just have them love you, then maybe where they hang out is the place where you want to connect with them. But if you want to convert those people into paying clients, then pay attention to where they found you, because they're the ones who then later worked with you. So it might be a different answer. So we want to start collecting some data on who's your audience and where are they actually hanging out. Where would you meet them if you went out in town? Are you going to meet them at the coffee shop, or are they at the bar, or are they at, their kid's soccer game at the indoor rink? Like, where are these people hanging out that are your favorite people in the online space and on social media? The second question is, how do they like digesting information? So this is really important. If your main target group are moms, then they might not enjoy digesting 2,000 word articles. They might not enjoy digesting long Facebook posts. They may really like quick snippets of videos or quick little updates, or even Pinterest photos where there's a little bit of text in the image, so you really want to get clear on how do they enjoy digesting information. It doesn't mean the information, I'm not talking about the quality of the information or even the content, or even how they might wish that they could. Parents that are sleep deprived, right. So parents that are sleep deprived, you might know maybe because they're sleep deprived, it's because they're up in the middle of the night and they have to stay up for some reason. So they're ready to read something that's 4,000 words long, and they'd rather find you on, some platform like that, or like Facebook where you can write much longer things. Or maybe they're sleep deprived, so they're like just scrolling through videos and they're like, oh my God, somebody help me. And so they're on Google, and Google's pulling from YouTube to give that, because Google owns YouTube. So you want to think about where they're actually spending their time looking for solutions to their problem, or they might stumble upon your solution. So sometimes on Pinterest, this comes up a lot, like somebody will search through Pinterest. You can go in there, and Kendrick Shope suggests this. You go into Pinterest and you put in like, my life sucks, or whatever you think let's think about that. So you type in, whatever you think your ideal client is thinking, and look at the posts that come up to get clear on what language is coming up and what people are like, oh yeah, that totally resonates with how I feel. As you'll see who's commented on it and who has a bit more comments. But if your audience is a teenager or somebody coming out of college, then maybe they're on Snapchat. And there are plenty of people who use Snapchat for business. I don't know anything about how to do that, but it's possible because I know that people are doing it. Or maybe there are people who have much more in-depth questions, like Jen Terrell, who I was talking about, who's amazing. If you don't follow her to help with financial things, she's on Blab every week so that you can hop in and talk to her. If you're part of her group, it's where we communicate as a group, where we can talk in and actually live and say, Jen, I have this question going on, or let me learn about this, or have you thought about this? So you can actually interact with her in a really in-depth way in that format. All right, so how do your audience like digesting information? We've already talked about how you like to show up, how you like to give information. So I said I really like writing, so I blog every day. But then also, how does your audience like to digest? How do they like to receive their information? And what kind of information are they looking for? That gets a little bit deeper into it, but we're talking about social media platforms. So we're in the realm of educating, inspiring, entertaining, getting people to notice you, but also making an impact. So it's beyond being seen, it's making an impact, because the impact leads to action, and action is where they'd sign up for your list, or actions where they'd reach out to you, or actions where they'd refer somebody to you. So we want that impact. So when somebody's scrolling through something or going through something or pulling up the internet at 4 in the afternoon while they're having their candy bar, what are they looking for? Where are they going? And how do they want to process that? Okay. Which is all based on who your audience is. And then the last question is, what kind of interaction do they want to have? So we talked a little bit about how you want to interact, but we also need to look at how your audience wants to interact. So do they just want to passively receive information through writing? Do they want to meet you halfway? Like this, you're live, but you can't actually talk to me, which isn't ideal for me, but that's okay. So you can sort of text, but we can't actually have a real life, like a in-the-minute conversation. So some people like that as an audience member. You just want to hold back and sort of see from the side and assess whether or not it's the right thing for you. And some audience members are really ready and want to just continually be there. Those are the people who call into Howard Stern or call into radio shows, or who joining you on Blab and they're like, hey, I'm here, let's connect. So think about who your audience is and what they really want and how they really want to show up and connect with you. Do they want to support and chat with you and leave like little comments and thumbs up and hearts on Facebook? Do they want to just grab your quote and download it onto their phone and send it to other people? Like, is that what they want? Is that the interaction they want? Do they want to just read what you wrote and go, oh yeah, that really sunk home to me, like that's what I needed today? Or do they want to have this one-on-one interaction or this more personal interaction? So we want to think about those three things with your audience: who they are and where they're hanging out, how do they like digesting information, and how do they like connecting and communicating with you. Okay, who's got questions for me? So those are the 6 questions. Your perfect vision of yourself 5 years from now, how do you want to interact, and how does that compare to what you're doing now? Where do you spend your time now, and how do you feel about that before, during, and after? How do you like to communicate? So that's talking about both short, in-depth, one-on-one, interview style, images, and then also what are you getting across with that? So that's am I teaching? Am I inspiring? Am I making people laugh? Am I telling secrets about celebrities? That sort of thing. And then number 4, who's your audience? Where are they hanging out? Number 5, how do they like to digest information? So are they looking for short, pithy things? Are they looking for longer assessments and analysis? And then 6, how do they actually like to interact with you? Like, what's their ideal way of interacting, so that you can take how you want to interact and share information, and how they want to interact and share information, and meet at the right platform. That's really how it works from a strategic perspective. And that means that you are always honoring yourself. You're honoring yourself and what makes sense for you and your business, so that you actually are more natural and more excited in that place, so that it's really you showing up. It's not just you trying to do the right thing because you know that you're supposed to use that social platform, but it's you genuinely showing up in a way that helps really express who and how you are in the world, so that people can get a feel for you, because that's what we want, right? We want people to get a feel for us so that we can have an impact and share our message and help people in the way that we actually want to do, whether that's, with a product or with deep personal healing work. That part's irrelevant. We want to just be genuine and authentic and make these connections so that we can actually make the difference we're here to make. All right, I'm glad you thought it was really useful. I think so. Strategy's awesome, only because, like we said, there's just so much choice. There's just so much choice in the world, and it's overwhelming. And we end up spending all of our day not knowing what direction to go in, because on some level our brain is like, oh my gosh, there's so much. And you always feel like you're failing, right? If I'm spending 10 minutes on Facebook, well, shouldn't I also be on Instagram and Periscope and blah, blah, blah? Like, it can be really daunting, and we want to get the biggest bang for our buck. And in my mind, the biggest bang for our buck is always where we're most authentically aligned. And so we want to have these questions that give us the parameters on how to be authentically aligned with what we're trying to achieve. So we start with the video yesterday where we're like, this is my big vision, this is my message in the world, this is how my business is going to help me express it. These are the people exactly who need it, and how that issue is showing up for them. That's what I'm going to focus on. And I'm going to help them realize that through these platforms, because that's where I get the opportunity to meet people. And it's perfectly suited to me and my work and how I want to be in the world, and it's perfectly suited to where they are and all of that. And what those parameters do is they allow us to transform as technology changes, as our business changes, and as the way that we work changes. Because everything's going to change. Who knows what's coming next? Literally, who knows? I have no idea. I feel like I'm going to be a hologram in your living room, and actually I probably could be right now. But I don't have that technology, and you probably don't either. But next time, maybe I'll be a hologram in your living room, which would be really great for me, because I like in-person connection. I like to be with another person, which is why I like live events. It's not a social media thing, but this gets close, right? Doing live webinars, doing live videos, doing things like this, we get to be more personal and get a feel for each other, which is important to me. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in. And also, you can always connect with me after this as well. I'm Alexis at alexispierce.com. I'm going to take a breath and a cup of water and see if you want to type in any questions. Thank you for the hearts. Those are lovely. I'm really glad this was useful. So I'm just going to go over the questions one more time, and then we'll call it a day. So again, the way we're doing these questions is so that you can get clear on how you want to be, and so that you always have a way to navigate back to what matters to you, so that you don't feel overwhelmed. You don't feel overwhelmed or distracted or pulled in a million different directions. And it's great if you want to be on every social platform. Maybe that is the answer, and that's really where you are in your business and what makes the most sense for you. Or maybe you just want to focus on one. Those are all things that you can answer based on who you are and how you want to feel. So if your biggest thing in life is simplicity, then you probably don't want to be on all the different social platforms, right? That's an obvious one, because it's how you feel versus how your business is showing up. And you want the business to align with how you feel, so that it actually supports you in how you feel. Versus if you're like super, super social and your biggest thing is like sharing it as widely as possible and you got to get it out to everybody and everybody and everybody, then maybe you're spending 6 to 7 hours a day on social media and you're not in creation mode, you're in sharing mode. And that's fine too, because every business has phases, right? And maybe that's a phase by day of the week, or maybe that's a phase by, oh, for the first quarter, I'm going to really focus on building these relationships so that I can figure out how these things work. And then I'll switch into creation mode for a little bit and then I'll come back and go back and forth. So it's okay to play around with it. And that's really the point, is that there's no right or wrong answer. It's only what matters to you and how you feel. And you know, I hate to hammer on and on and on about feelings, but they really actually do matter, because the whole point is to feel good, right? The whole point of life is to feel good. But also the whole point of having a business, like you do it for a reason. And that reason is presumably not to feel stressed, overwhelmed, and like you can never have a day off. Like, and if that is, more power to you. But for most of us, that's not why we got into it. And so if we're getting ourselves all gunked up in all of these different things that we think we have to do to succeed, then we're moving further and further away from how we really want to feel. So we want to come back to those feelings and say, well, how can I support my life or create my life or shape my life to actually help me feel those ways? And your social media is just one component of that, right? So your business is going to help you feel those ways in all sorts of different ways. Do I want to create programs because that allows me to have more flexible time after I've committed the time to create it? Do I want to focus on just one social media outlet because I really want to focus on something much deeper in my own personal life, and that gives me the simplicity of knowing that I'm still connecting and still showing up, but it's more focused, it's more tailored, it's more specific. You know, these are the types of things we want to go through. So that's why looking at you first and looking at your business as an extension of you that also supports you helps you stay focused. It helps you stay focused on you, and it helps you make sure that you're doing things for the right reason, not just because somebody told you you have to, which is a recipe for feeling totally stressed out. Okay, so I'll go over the questions one more time in case you have questions. Let you type them in if you do have them, and if not, you can always find me at alexis@alexispearce.com, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, so the 6 questions again were, in your vision of yourself 5 years from now, when everything's amazing and you're already like totally successful, how do you want to show up? Where do you see yourself engaging? And how does that compare to where you are now? So you don't have to imagine a specific platform, but just the type of engagement that you have, because they might change. So we're talking about like videos, images, face-to-face, live video, recorded video, those types of things. And then where do you, so what platform aligns right now to you feeling your most successful? Second question, where do you spend your time now, and how do you feel before, during, and after that time, so that you actually get a feel for if you actually enjoy a certain platform or not, or a certain type of engagement or not. And third question, focused on you, is how do you like to communicate? Is that short little messages? Is it images? Is it videos that are pre-done? Is it videos that are live? Is it audio calls? Is it calls where people can ask questions? Is it really in-depth research pieces? Is it interviews? You know, what really inspires you? Do you love drawing answers out of other people and highlighting other people? That's still a great way to engage on social media, because you're still there and you're still engaged, but you're lifting other people up. That can be something that you really inspires you. And then within that, how do you like to communicate? What's the mode of communication, I suppose? So yeah, I think that's right. So are you teaching? Are you connecting? Are you uplifting? Are you inspiring? Are you, the Perez Hiltons sharing all the secrets and giving people tips model? And then we move to your audience. Who are they and where are they hanging out? Pretty basic. Where are they hanging out? You can ask people. You can ask your favorite clients now. You can ask your favorite people now. Hey, where do you hang out all day? What do you do there? Like, what are you looking for when you're on there? Are you looking to be inspired? Are you looking to be uplifted? Like, you can ask a little bit of questions, but don't lose sight of how you want to be. That's the key, is just to not get so outside of yourself that we can't remember how to make decisions that feel good for us. So we want to have we want to tether to ourselves and then go a little bit outside and go, oh yeah, look at all this stuff around me that I can use to help express myself even better, but staying really connected to you. And you can always ask people, how did you hear about me? And that might be a different question than where do you hang out now? Or it might be a different answer than where do you hang out now? So, second question for your audience, so number 5, is how do they like digesting information? Do they like infographics? Do they like images with quotes on them? Do they like just images? Do they like silent video? You know, do they like really long, in-depth pieces and like tell all sob stories? You know, like how do they like digesting information? And the last question is, what type of interaction do they like to have? So that's really similar to the fifth question, but it's more focused on, do they like written word? Do they want audios? Do they want videos? Do they want to have this one-on-one ability to connect via Blab or Periscope or whatever's coming next? Do they want live webinars? Like, you can look at people like Kimra Luna. She built an entire business around webinars. Her people love it because they get to see her live, they get her personality, and they get to ask questions, which her community loves asking questions. So that's really key for them. And she doesn't need to spend all of her time everywhere else. She doesn't. She's on Facebook. She's on webinars. She might now have a bigger presence, but she focused really clearly. And I'm not saying you have to focus. I'm saying align with what's important to you and your audience and find that sweet spot so that you can choose the right platform for you right now. It doesn't mean it can't change. You're always allowed to change. That's why we're going through these bigger questions, because you can ask them at any moment, depending on how technology changes, how your business changes, and how you change. All right. I hope that was really helpful. Again, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we are talking about, it's another really good one actually. We're talking about sorting through business advice. So really similar to today. So when we are bombarded by all these different advice and we know that like 6 months from now I'm going to need to know that, and this I'm going to need to know then, how do we actually keep our inboxes sort of sane? And not be distracted by all the flashy, shiny things on Facebook or wherever you are, so that we can get stuff done. Because especially in the beginning stages of business, you're like, I need to know everything, so I'm going to follow all of this because I need it all right now. And so we're going to talk about how do you actually sort through all the business advice that's coming to you, not in a way that we're going to put anybody down, but just in a way that helps you be sane so that you can know, you can actually take action. You are welcome. I'm so glad you were here. Thursday, we're going to talk about branding and why branding is actually so difficult, like on a really deep human level, because branding is challenging for everybody. It's not just about colors. There's like a much deeper, like, we're going to get into some serious like anthropological philosophy on Thursday about why branding is so difficult and how to think about it and how to sort of free yourself up from that pressure of like, why does everybody else look so pretty and I can't figure it out? And then Friday, we're going to end with some six mindset beliefs, or beliefs that we have that we need to switch or think about in a new way to feel confident, especially in your business. So these are beliefs that I've personally worked with, that I'm still working with, but I've personally worked with, and also that have come out of my experience. And I'm like, oh, I really need to switch that thought up in order to be able to show up and to feel confident and to get my work out into the world and make a difference. And again, it doesn't matter what kind of work you do. It's about that alignment to yourself and knowing that you have the ability to share the message that you're here to share. Whether that's with one person or 10 million. So Friday's about confidence, Thursday's about branding, tomorrow is going to be all about, what did I say? It's about sorting through business advice. Today's about social media, and yesterday was about getting clear on your business message. So if you want to find all the replays and get all the ones in the future in case you miss a day, you can go to my website. It's up on the top left corner. It says join the free training. You get signed up for my February 16th webinar, plus you get access to all of these things. And on that webinar, I'm giving away a free spot in my Profit on Purpose program where we go like way more deep into your life purpose and your business message and your offer and all that. All right. Thank you. Lovely to see you guys. Thanks so much for being here, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow. Mwah!